We like to do intros. So be sure to introduce, if you want to, you can show your kids, that's fine. But be sure to introduce who you are, where you are, what kind of boat you're on, and who your kids are. So we'll start with that. Tiff?
Okay, my name is Tiffany. My husband and I, Jimbo, live aboard our 50-foot Beneteau Oceanus. We have two children, a 10-year-old boy named Sailor and a 10-year-old boy named Chandler. We have been full-time for a year and a half, but we used to be part-time prior to this. So even when they were younger, like 2, 4, smaller, like toddler ages, we did do part-time sailing back then. Back then, we were just hopping over from Florida to the Bahamas and back in the on season. But now we're full-time and we're currently in Central America and Panama.
Awesome. Sailing crosswinds.
My name is Nicole. I'm with my husband, Paul. We're on a 39 Pearson. We have 2 kids. My son is 11. His name's Cade. And Liliana's here. She's 5. And we've been on our boat for 3 years, minus a 6-month break we just recently had to take for medical reasons. But we're back and we're in the Keys right now.
Yay.
We are by the fort in Key West, and we're exploring all day today, and I'm really excited. I haven't had any key lime pie yet, and I'm just
that's a must.
I gotta go get some. Yes.
I guess there's a really cool place that makes it live, like on a TV show or something, and they take a break from the TV show to make you the key lime pie, like live there on the spot. I guess it's the best key lime pie anywhere. So be sure to look for that. Hi, Haley. Oh, it says Wicked Rebel says a Pearson 35 there, so that's awesome. Okay, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, Crosswinds is in a great spot for some family activities. So I'm sure that as we go through some of these questions, and Melvin's too, as we go through some of these questions, I'm sure they'll mention some of the places they're at right now are some of good places for kids. So first thing is kind of on that topic is, how do you handle schooling? This is an education and schooling topic. How do you handle schooling as a liveaboard family? Is your schedule more traditional or is it more flexible? Are you like unschooling? Like, what do you do? Tiff?
Definitely more flexible. We homeschooled in land life. So my children have never been to public school to start with. So their entire schooling has been homeschooling. So it really wasn't much of a change for us. We're definitely more flexible. We do school year round. And that's because the 70 days or whatever that kids take off during the summer, I just spread that out throughout the year. So if we're on a passage and it's really rough, or people, it's just a hard day to do schooling or whatever, it's not a big deal when we miss. So we school year round. That helps a lot. We did that even on land life. It just works best for us. But yeah, we've always homeschooled the whole time. We do a kind of eclectic of different things. I'm fixing to move on to a little bit more online stuff so that I don't have to keep worrying about keeping up with books and getting them delivered as we move around.
Yeah, that can be tough for sure. Nicole?
Yes, so we did FLVS, which is Florida Virtual Learning, and you don't have to be in Florida to do that, but it's an online, do it at your own pace. They like for you to turn something in each week in each of the subjects, but you don't have to as long as you communicate. And if you don't turn something in, they have to let somebody know, but it's not a big deal. I even took 2 months off once when I had to have 2 jobs for us to travel further. So I took off 2 months and he didn't have to do school then. But last year I did have a hard time homeschooling and I just put him in 5th grade, but he learned so much on the computer that year. I really think this year I've already enrolled them. They already have a day. And the best part about it is I got to pick the day that they start. So they get to start August 25th, which is after everybody else. But that gives us a little bit more time, vacation time, before the schooling starts. And it was perfect, besides the fact that I had to do all of the computer work with him side by side. But now he's really good at the computer and I think he can do most of that by himself, and she'll be starting this year. So I'll be doing 2. So I'll let you know how that goes. But I do like the Florida Virtual Learning because it's at your own pace and they're very, very lenient. And a lot of the kids finished within 3 or 6 months and then they were done for the entire school year. Kate even finished 2 months early the year that we had 2 months off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really lenient and it covers the exact same thing that they're learning in the Florida schools. So if he does go back to regular school, he's right back to where he was and what he was doing online, and it doesn't mess with that. But,
Okay, joining in.
That's so nice.
Okay, I'll get it.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I heard you're catching a barracuda.
Yes, we actually caught two of them. And so one was really put in a fight. And then we're like under sail. I'm trying to reverse and still going super fast. And you know how it is. While sailing, everything is like you can't control nothing. You want to control everything. And there's just we caught two and then released them. So
Thanks for cutting out some of your fishing time, for being here with us. That's exciting.
Yeah, of course.
And a good learning opportunity for children. This kind of stuff. It's like perfect. Everything we talk about is like perfect for a learning opportunity. So Grace, since you just popped in, can you give all of our viewers a little heads up as to who you guys are, where you are? That would be lovely.
Yeah, so we just left Anegada in the BVIs and we are heading to Jos Van Dyke, still in the BVIs. We are a family of 4, so my husband Jeff, and we have 2 boys, 9 and 12. And we brought one kitty cat from us with us from California, and we just adopted a new one from the streets. So we have 2 kitty cats now, and he works full time with the internet, and then kids do homeschooling.
I love it. And I love the sailing noises in the background.
Sorry, he's like adjusting the...
This is what we do. This is who we are. It's perfect. I love it.
We had a fish and we thought it was a good one, and it turned out to be a barracuda that we don't want.
Barracudas.
But we ended up putting the engines on reverse. We ended up turning into the wind, doing everything we could to get the fish at the right angle and to be able to bring it in. Just to find out we had to let it go, and now we're just getting back on course.
Gosh darn it. Okay, well, congratulations either way. We never catch anything, so at least you caught something. so Grace,
well, we catch what we don't want. I don't know if that's actually better.
At least now we're catching. There was a time where we were catching nothing, just sargassum.
I'm getting my extra exercise reeling in the fish, and she's getting her extra exercise dealing with the lines and this and jumping around and what do I do now? And then jumping and doing it, and I'm freaking out and she's freaking out. We did great.
That's so good. Good job, you guys. So fun. So Grace, you kind of answered this question, but the first question we had was how do you handle schooling as a live aboard family? Is your schedule more traditional or is it more flexible? Or are you like unschooled? Like, what's your schedule like?
Last year, it was very traditional to where we had like about 6 hours a day of homeschooling, and they were doing a charter school and learning a bunch of like history, chemistry, English, math, like a lot of, but it was like a school to where they would connect online on the live classes and then turn in so many different assignments. Jaren read 4 books, Jacob read 3 books, I think, for the school year, and like different projects, mission, book reports, and it was a lot. I felt overwhelmed as a mom, like, and teacher assistant. I also felt overwhelmed.
She did awesome.
They are ahead of their grade level, but they did put in the work, like studying, reading, math, everything. And this coming year, I want to do it more flexible because there were many instances where I wanted them to go play. Like once we were in Sandy Island and they were like newborn baby turtles. And both of my kids had like tests and they couldn't like leave their life, like their Zoom class. And I was like, just go look at them for 5 minutes and then come back. So I feel like they were missing out. And this year I want to do it more independent to where I choose the curriculum and they do commit like 2 to 3 hours a day, like but fully actually studying. And I want to change it to more relaxed.
Yeah. 6 hours that's a lot of dedicated time for sure.
A lot of time. Yeah.
So,
I don't know if it was just to keep them busy, but it was a lot of homeschooling and
well, and that's what people don't understand too, is that a lot of times the parents are the teacher, or the teacher assistant, like you said. So it not only takes away a big chunk of time from the kids, but the parents as well. to be dedicated, make sure the kids are doing their thing. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome in, we see Kings.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you this time. Can you give us, since you just popped in, can you give us a little bit who, what, when, where, why, and also a little bit about your kids, since we're talking about kids aboard?
Okay, well, I have 3 boys. One is 30 and off and married. The other 2 are on board with me. They are 18 and 17, and they were 14 when they started this on the boat. We started homeschooling them after COVID. They ended the year homeschooled anyway, and so we just kind of continued. At first, they were doing an online school. I believe it was Connections Academy. And then once we got on the boat, we kind of did our own curriculum. And now they are both finishing up high school, so they're doing an online class through, oh my gosh, brain not working today, but they're finishing high school online. They can work at their own pace, and which is great because when we're out on the islands, if they don't want to do school for a few days because we're out having a good time, they can just get back to it whenever, and there's no time restraint.
That's awesome.
Gotta wait here.
Yeah, we're just kind of talking about like the schedules versus kind of a looser schedule. And for us too, it was a pandemic as well. And our son was 13 going into 14 when we got on the boat too. So his entire 8th grade year, I homeschooled him. And it was where we first started. I'm a very scheduled person, which is bad if you're a sailor, you guys know this, but I was a very scheduled person. So it was, okay, math, science, physical education, we're doing all this in order at a certain time every day. And that was actually before we got on the boat too. So we tried to keep that schedule. And then with boat life, everything went to it was gone. It was not happening because most of the things took place in that moment. So if there was a teachable moment at that time, well, we might be learning science right then. So our schedule went from completely scheduled about 4 to 5 hours a day to then just completely, okay, let's make sure we're still checking the boxes, because we were in transition also from Colorado to Florida school districts. So for us, we were still reporting to Colorado after his 8th grade year. So it was checking the boxes for Colorado, but also making sure, since he wanted to go to high school in Florida, that he was checking the boxes for Florida too. So it was a lot for us, but we survived. Okay, so let me move on to the next question here. And that is, do you think children miss out socially or gain something totally different? Tiff?
No, I don't think they miss out socially. So when we were like in land life, doing regular life, but still homeschooling, we got that question a lot. A lot of people seem to think like the only way to socialize a kid is if they're in public school. We were in a co-op when we were back at home. So we did meet 2 times a month to do like extracurricular things. So it would be like science experiments, home ed, PE, like the extra kind of stuff. And they also did things like field trips and like prom when the kids are older and like different stuff like that. So we were in that, but that only met like 2 times a month. And then of course my kids were in other activities like soccer, or art lessons, or drum lessons. So they were doing other things with other kids all the time. We were in church, so they did VBS, they did youth groups and like whatever. So yeah, my kids were socialized plenty, but it is something that people ask a lot about. I do think that it's a different kind of socialization when you're out here. It's not the same because you're not sitting in a classroom all day getting socialization, or however they think it is. It's much different out here. So a lot of the ways we find people is through No Foreign Land or apps or WhatsApp groups. There's a bunch of people in there specifically that have kids that'll say, hey, we're going to the beach at 2 here. You want to come, whatever, for the location that you're in. And then also, I feel like we get a lot of buddy boats. So we did buddy boating last year, y'all know, with like Ryan and them. They have 4 children, and we were with them for at least 6 months straight last year, spending time with them. So I don't find it hard for socialization, but I do think it's something that when you're a homeschooler or doing this lifestyle that you have to be intent about. Because if you just I think that people are imagining that when you homeschool, you sit inside with the door locked and you never leave. And that's not the case. And if you're being intentional to make connections in your community and stuff, you're going to be able to socialize fine.
Perfect. Crosswinds?
Yeah, we meet a lot of people that are doing the exact same thing as us, and their kids also want interactions with other kids. So we get that a lot. Literally, as soon as we got here, we put our anchor down, and then seconds later, there was a guy coming up on his dinghy telling us he's like, oh, I see you guys have kids. I have 2 kids. His son was the same name as my son, and then his daughter's name was Lila. Mine was Lily. And they were like, oh, this is a sign. Like, we've got to go hang out later. And they even told me about some cool places to take the kids while we're here. And that happens everywhere we go, all the time. There's always kids everywhere we go, sandbars, stuff like that. But as for like long-term friendship and other things, a lot of the time we're stuck in one place for a while because we financially, what we do is we work in one spot usually for a while, and then we play for a while. So like we just got to do soccer with him. So we had a lot of friends doing the soccer. She did dance, so she had ballet and tap, and she met a lot of friends there that she got to interact, learn how to stand in line with other kids, you know, how to interact with all the other kids and things. They don't miss out on that at all. We take them to libraries. I'm always looking for events. Like, I will go and find anything for us to go do, and there's always something for kids to do. And even if it's the sandbar, the beach, there's always kids at the beach. They don't miss out on any of the fun. And you know what? My son, he did the 1 year of regular schooling, and he's like, please, I never want to go back. Like, he really didn't like his teacher. He's like, I want you to teach me. That was way more fun. Like, let's do that. And to me, that's what's important, is they're happy.
Mom,
you know?
can I go swimming yet?
Oh, except for her. She wants to go swimming right now. She's like, can I go swimming yet? I'm letting him swim because he's old enough, but she's getting better at swimming, and I don't want her over there by herself.
Swimming now.
But anyway.
That's awesome. Thanks. Manson Bear, what about you? Socially missing out or not at all?
No, I don't think they're missing out. Like, sometimes even if we don't have someone to buddy boat with, like, we'll go to the beach and the kids, it could be local kids or people who are vacationing, and then they're like, they just start talking. And I mean, kids are better at making friends adults like we are. Like, they just like, hey, what's your name? You want to play? Or I think that they just ask you want to play and they go play.
It's like Jerem when he was meeting the French kid.
Yeah, so Jerem met a French kid, and I could see both of them looking at each other, like, and I was like, and I knew he spoke French, so I was like, just go say like, ça va? And then, you know, like, salut, like, hi. And then they started playing, and Jerem doesn't speak French, but he said he understood some things. His French comes from the Latin, and he understands Spanish. And he said that the other kid just kept speaking French, and Jacob kept speaking English, and then they played together. And, you know, even a language is not a barrier for kids to play and socialize. And yeah, so
What an amazing opportunity. Yeah, to meet kids like that don't speak. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, we get to meet kids from all over the world, different cultures, even sometimes our kids talking to their parents, and like we include them a lot more in not like adult conversations that are safe for kids. Like, just like include them more in our conversations than when they were before. It was like, oh, you just go play with the kids. Like, you know, it's I don't know.
I feel like they have more opportunity to mature, more opportunity to actually be free, to go out, meet others, just to be who they are. And that's to say, they can find out who they are and then be who they are and enjoy it. And it's just a safe environment. And they'll meet kids that maybe not their same age. They might be 5 years younger. They might be 10 years older. It doesn't matter. It's just they all want to have fun and they play awesome. And it's amazing. And I've watched our kids mature quite a bit and come out of their shell. So it's quite amazing.
Jacob has come out of his shell a lot. He was very quiet, and now he does things on his own. So
that's awesome. That's very cool. We see Kings. What about you guys?
Very similar stories. When we were on land and they were homeschooled, we were doing a co-op, and they had homeschool prom. We did classes at home, but once a week we would have a Spanish class because I spoke Spanish at a friend's house. And one of the dads was a doctor, so on his lunch hour once a week he would teach a biology class. If the day was nice, we would just all meet at the park instead of someone's house, and we would just have class at the park. So I kind of feel like they socialized more being homeschooled than they did in public school. They used to be in a elementary school it was a great school, but it was very strict. You couldn't talk in line, you couldn't talk in class, not a lot of recess, lunch was short, so there wasn't really a lot of socializing there. So I kind of feel like they socialize more being homeschooled. And then on the boat, just the same story, buddy boats, apps where you can find people with other kids. When you're out here, like we spent a year and a half in the Caribbean, just got back, boats migrate to a boat like boats. So if you're a couple with no kids aboard, you're going to migrate to couples. If you're a couple with teens, you're going to go to teen boats, little kid boats. And everybody just kind of hangs out together. But also, like Manta Bear was saying, you'll have teenagers and little kids playing together. It does not matter. It's like a big family. When we were in Georgetown, Bahamas, a teen boy took his parents' dinghy and he just went from boat to boat and picked up all the other teens. And he was like, hey, we saw there were teens on board. Yeah, they just went off. And you had like 12 kids in a dinghy. I don't know how the thing was still floating. And they would go play volleyball and they would go hiking and they would go cliff jumping. And it was like the 80s where they just went and came back when the sun was going down. Like, come home when the sun was going down. And you didn't know what they were doing. They were off having a good time. And socialization has been the least of our worries out here on the boat. Yeah. Way more socializing than when we were in a neighborhood.
Yeah, I agree.
Lots to do. And because our homeschool schedule is flexible, we could say, okay, we're going to skip school for a couple days and you can work on the weekend or whatever and work at night and they could go have fun. And socializing has been the least of our worries. And also, like Manta Bear was saying, my boys were out fishing and a couple other teen boys were fishing that were locals and they didn't speak the same language. And they were out there for hours. And I was like, so what, you met somebody? And they were like, yeah, his name is so-and-so. So, okay, what'd you guys talk about? He's like, nothing. We couldn't talk to each other. We just fished and showed each other our fishes. And then he said he couldn't, I could understand a little bit because he said he'd meet us here tomorrow to fish some more. They just make friends wherever they go. Yeah. And some friends they don't see again, like the locals on some of the islands, but some friends on other boats, they've formed lifelong connections and we've split up, but they're still talking to each other on WhatsApp or whatever. And sometimes you split up and then a few months down the road, you meet them again somewhere. And way more socialization now than before.
That's awesome. Yeah, for Cody, so I didn't introduce ourselves, but most of you know me. But it's myself, my husband, and our son that we raised 4 years on the boat. But he's 19 now, so he's been on his own for over about a year and a half now. But from the transition from Colorado to boat life was, as an only child, he found it awkward because he was always around adults. He was always having adult conversations. He'd watch the news with us. He'd read these books with us that are beyond his reading capacity, and so he was always grown up. He was always more mature. So we tried to put him in baseball, we tried to put him in football, we tried to put him in mountain bike club and rock climbing club and all this stuff in Colorado Springs as a young child, and it never really worked out. So but in boat life it was the same thing. We'd go to things like Chat and Chill in Georgetown, Bahamas. When the kids would all go play beach volleyball, he's like, oh, what time's the game? What are you talking about? Like, you actually want to, he's like, yeah, I need to get over there and play. And then the ages ranged from, not really toddlers, but young children up to like the teenagers. And the teenagers were watching out for the little kids. And it was just so cool to see all the kids go play. The parents can hang back and chat too, but just they're taking care of themselves. It was beyond amazing to see him grow like that and to kind of shift into like actually wanting to be around other kids and participate during boat life. So that was great for us. We're gonna mush the next two questions together. I basically just want a quick answer from everybody, and that is, the first question is, what subjects have been the most fun to teach? So like math or science or that sort of thing. What subjects have been most fun to teach? And then the second part of that is, what languages have maybe the kids been picking up on or learning regarding the places you've been. Tiff?
Definitely history and science for the subjects that I feel like are easier to teach being out here because they get to experience things firsthand. And then for us would be Spanish. We've been to some French islands as well and some Spanish speaking places. Like right now we're in Panama, which is Spanish. So I've been in more Spanish than French, but definitely they picked up more Spanish than French. But yeah, so that'd be my answers.
Awesome. Crosswinds?
Yeah, as for the language, they haven't picked up on anything. I think, Lily had a little friend that was speaking Spanish and she was saying a couple of things with her, but nothing crazy. We really haven't traveled outside of Florida either, so you wouldn't expect us to be picking up on any crazy languages. And then as for teaching subjects, I would just say math because it was easiest. He picked it up really easy. He was like a genius at it, I'd say. He quick and easy, didn't even really have to help him with that. But really, the history that he learns, not in school, but with us, is way funner to teach than any of the stuff we do online.
You guys are at a fort right now. Like that is history. That is the coolest thing. Just actually
we've been in 2 forts this
history.
past week.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Be careful, this is a road.
Manta Bear?
So I just asked them because they're here, and Jacob said chemistry, Jem said science, and around the world, like stuff, things around the world. And they said they have picked up more on Spanish, but they don't feel they picked it up at the islands, but more with me.
Cool. We see Kings?
I would say my husband enjoys teaching math. I am not a math person, and I enjoy the history and writing. And, same when we're out on the islands, there's so much history. You can, put the books down and just go walk through ruins and learn the history of that place. Yeah. So that's been fun. And then I'm fluent in Spanish. So the boys knew a little bit. They don't like to speak it, but they understand it. But they've picked up a lot more Spanish because if we were out on a Spanish island, I made them order their own meals and I didn't tell them because they're like, Mom, you order for me. You speak Spanish. I was like, no. So we definitely picked up more Spanish, and they even picked up a little bit of French on the French islands.
That's awesome. Yeah, we love teaching, like I said, history. When we were in Florida still doing school on the boat, we did a lot of we called it Field Trip Fridays. So we'd go to places like the Elliott Museum in Stuart, Florida, and the Oceanographic Center. And so each Friday we had a different field trip that Cody and I would go do. Captain Steve was in school at that time. But yeah, the history of the science, biology, we learned all sorts of cool things. And then I think Cody is really kind of world-minded. So he wanted to learn German. He wanted to learn French. So we just did like Duolingo. And he kind of was himself leading, I want to learn this language. Great. You're working on that this year instead of, okay, well, where are we now? It was kind of like, this is what I want to do. So that was, he did it himself. And we were very happy about that. So he's still working on his Duolingo, by the way, his German. So still fine tuning. Okay. So we're going to move into safety. So how do you balance giving kids freedom also while keeping them safe? Tiff?
Mostly just things like when we're underway is like the biggest thing, and just listening the first time. Like my kids know when we have like our serious voice on, and they know to do it immediately. So really that's our biggest thing, is really when we're on like an offshore passage. I'm probably one of the like 90s moms, like people say, like I'm not super uptight about stuff. I remember once in land life, my kids climbing a tree at a playground, and all the moms lost their minds and were mad at me because my kid climbed a tree, and then their kids wanted to climb the tree, and then they were all looking at me mad, and I was like, they're climbing a tree, what is the problem? So I'm definitely like the very laid back, probably too laid back. The only time we have a little bit of more like rules would be like on passages offshore. Other than that, I'm pretty much feral children running around here.
It's controlled chaos is what I like to call it.
Controlled chaos. I like that. Yes.
Yes. Crosswinds?
Yeah, I think it's about knowledge and being aware. So I don't care if they swim in the water, but they need to know, don't swim in murky waters, don't swim at sunrise and sunset, don't splash a lot. They need to know which animals or which creatures in the sea. You don't want to step on an urchin, like don't touch octopus, they could be poisonous. Just educating them on what they're allowed to do and what they should stay away from, I think, is the most important thing. And then educating ourselves in things like how to make a tourniquet and just the educating our children. I don't mind if they go out and play in the street, but they need to know to look both ways before they go run out in the street to get their ball, or you know what I mean? Just being aware of their surroundings and knowing what is where they're going. Because when we go different places, there's different things we have to be aware of. And I guess just educating them on that is the best thing you can do to keep them safe. And always wearing a life vest when we're underway, those kind of things.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, awareness is key. Mansver?
I would feel like, yeah, it's mainly during passages. We all wear our life vest. We tell them, 3 points of contact. They have to let us know when they're going down and when they have arrived down, so we know they didn't go off, fell, and then, or when they're coming up. So I don't know what else
Yeah, it's just about having the safety lines and things prepped on the boat. It's all around inner passage. When we're on anchor or we're in a bay, it's just, let us know where you are, what you're doing, but otherwise have fun, be safe. If you're going to go snorkeling, great. You're going with us, or we're going with you. Not because we don't trust them, but because we want to go too and have fun. But go out and have a blast and just enjoy, but within some confines. But the confines are really just when we're under passage. Is mainly where it's at, just because that's when an accident would happen that you can't really come back from. That could be a lot more difficult.
If we are out on land, I would say we tell them to stay together, and just kind of the normal, if someone tells you, hey, come here, we're gonna give you candy, no, come and tell us,
Danger.
Stay with friends. If you see someone falling, don't just stare, go do something. Tell me, tell another adult, help out. Sarcasm. So yeah.
Now you're catching sarcasm. Is that what I heard? Boo. We see Kings. What about you guys?
Our kids are older. They're 17 and 18. So, I would say that everybody's kids, no matter what age, they're going to have the same safety concerns on the boat as on land. Don't talk to strangers, all the things you guys have already mentioned, and you just need to make sure your kids know that. And then with our kids, because they're older, just boat rules, like when you're underway, if you're going out of the cockpit, they have to have a life vest on. They're not allowed to go out of the cockpit if we're underway at night, especially if it's rough. Mom and dad do that. They know, because they're about adults, they know all the, where the fire extinguishers and the fire blankets and all the, that kind of safety stuff. And then when we're on an island together, even though they're 18 and 17, we tell them they have to stay together. If somebody gets, one of my boys was skateboarding, fell down a hill, and he had road rash from his ankle to his armpit, and they were together so his brother could come and get me. And the other people in the marina were like, wow, because I wasn't freaking out, and I just said, go back to the boat, don't get blood on my cushions, I'll be right there to clean you up. And it's like, if there's no bone sticking out, and, rub some dirt on it, you'll be fine. But yeah, just stay together when you're out and about. We really have not felt unsafe on the Caribbean islands, but they don't typically go out after dark, and just stay together. They just said normal rules that you would have for kids that aren't on a boat, normal safety things. Just a few extra things, like if we're underway and we need to cook, they have to be careful with the stove because the boat's moving around. But nothing crazy.
Yeah, I think same for us is like land life and boat life. There's the same safety protocols. And then what was fun is Cody was taking initiative as a teenager. He's taking initiative to honestly make sure we were being safe. So like, Mom, where's your life jacket? Oh yeah, okay, good call, son. So it was good for him to take the initiative and like be the safety outlook and understand that especially on a sailboat, which people don't understand is things like the boom, things like the genoa or jib. Some of these things can be extremely dangerous under high wind and jibing. We went through some serious, stuff sailing our first year that we weren't aware could really happen on a sailboat. So things like that, just helping your kids be aware of like, this can happen. It hasn't happened. It could it happen? Yes. So we need to be aware of that and maybe not stand right where the boom could go while we're jibing next time. This could happen. So it was a whole nother layer of safety, but just doing that safety walkthrough initially, I think really helped our family to understand like, this is how this boat works. And you need to be aware of these certain things. Another thing for us is like the lifeline. We're all pretty tall people except for Captain Steve. So the lifeline hits us, Cody and I, at like our knees. So if we were to get rocked to the side over the lifeline, which is essentially the side of the boat that could kind of hold you on, we would fall right overboard. So it was important for us to know, okay, like where exactly should we be clipped into or place ourselves with that 3 points of contact. That's important so that we don't fall overboard on an overnight passage or something like that. So it took a lot of learning, but we figured it out. So we kind of talked about safety rules, but what's your number one safety rule for the kids on board? Tiff?
Probably what I just said earlier, like they know when we're underway, and if we have our serious voice on to tell them to do something the first time, that's really our main rule, because there's too many scenarios of different things that can happen. So I'm always just like, when we're underway and we say something, you got to do it immediately because there's a reason why I'm telling you. And I don't have time to explain that reason right now, so just do what I said.
I'm using my mom sailing voice. You need to listen. Crosswinds, do you guys have number one rule?
I guess our number one rule would be the life vest rule. So if it's mandatory by law, then you're wearing it. If you're underway, if you're in the ocean, you got to have the mandatory life vest on. And in the dinghy rides, you have to have it on. That's really our main rule, is the life vest rule, if I have to be thinking right on the spot. I swear the questions that you sent me were not the same one, so I'm just on the spot here.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Order. My fault.
That's okay. It's all the same thing.
Okay.
But on the spot, that's what I can think of. Yeah, the life vest one's the most important to us. Yeah.
Manta Bear, you guys have number one?
Very similar to how Tiffany was. It's just like we call it, captain's orders, and that could be from mom or from dad. It doesn't matter, but it's like that authoritative voice, and it's a bit different than just the normal "you're in trouble, do it." It's like, this is life. This is the boat. This is you're doing it, and it can come from grace to me. It can come from grace to the kids. It's to all of us. It's when that captain comes out of whoever's in charge at the time. Do it. They have to listen. That's kind of the number one thing.
I love that captain's orders. I love that. That's so great. We see Kings.
Same thing. I hard to pick a number one rule, but I would say life vests, especially at night when we're underway. We used to work with dive boats, and it's very easy to, we had a diver get separated, and it's really hard to see them during the day out in the chop. If you threw a coconut or a small ball out in the water and just kept your eye on it, if you blink, it's gone and you can't find that person. So life vests while underway would probably be my number one rule, especially if you leave the cockpit.
Yeah, we do life vests as well. And then ours was the let us know where you're going rule, especially if it's at night. Let us know you're going inside to do bathroom or whatever you're going to do. Like, you need to tell us where you're going to be at all times. And then the man overboard drill, knowing and understanding how to do the man overboard drill, it's easier when you have an older child, because heaven forbid both the parents fall in, he can still figure out the boat and get back to us as an older child. But the man overboard drill, just shouting, where's the where's the throwable? You know, what's the pattern? How do we turn around? So that was another big rule for us, as he understood how to do that. I just want to touch real quick on something somebody said. I think it was Kaylee in the chat, that yes, you guys can gift all of our sailors. If you touch on their face, a little box at the bottom should show up if you want to gift all of our sailors. And please don't forget to follow. We greatly appreciate it. And I am keeping track. If anybody has questions, feel free to drop them in the comments, and I'll do my best to put them into the conversation. But we're going to move on to now daily life. So what does a normal day look like for the kids on your boat? Tiffany?
It's definitely much more like regular life than people think. Everyone thinks that living on a boat is like a full-time vacation. And while, of course, we do get to see amazing places, we go hiking, snorkeling, or diving, or do all these cool things, a normal day is still like doing school or cooking or cleaning or going to the grocery store or doing a boat project. So even though we are like traveling, getting to do a lot of amazing things, there's still a lot of routine, normal things. It's definitely not like a vacation full time, because I don't know about everybody else, but I'm not doing laundry. I ain't cooking. I'm not cleaning the toilet. I ain't doing none of that when I'm on vacation. So it's definitely not like a full-time vacation. I try to kind of tell people it's more like if you were like RVing full-time and you were traveling around, you're getting to see the United States, go to these cool landmarks and see these cool things, but you're still having to cook, do laundry, clean your toilet, you know, whatever. So yeah, it's a lot more of like regular life stuff. We're just getting to move our home around and get to travel and experience all these really cool places and see things firsthand and stuff. Like, of course, we got talking about earlier with homeschooling, you know, we got to see like the French forts when we were in the French islands. We got to go see like waterfalls. We got to do like all these cool things. Did a bunch of different tours and got to learn about like the different plants and like botany and stuff when we were in Dominica. And he taught us about like how cocoa was made, and we got to go to the cocoa farm, do all these different things. So yeah, we get to learn a lot of that kind of stuff, and that's really cool. But I mean, the regular days are like regular days. That's the truth.
It's a great way to put it. Crosswinds, what about you guys? Daily routines?
Yeah, so the kids, they do chores 6 of the 7 days, and we do a lot of swimming almost daily. I do let them have a little bit of screen time, but that comes with reading books and doing things to deserve the screen time. My son likes to play guitar. My daughter likes painting. My daughter has this little dance mat that she loves to put in the living room and just dance around. We love to play board games. Yes, of course, we do the dishes and scrub the toilets and all those things too, but in the summers, that's what the boat life looks like. We won't talk about winters. They're not near as glamorous.
I love it. Nancy Bear, what about you?
So I would say like the normal routine, yeah, like having breakfast, cooking, brushing their teeth. We do have some device time on the boat, but you know, like they have to do their chores first, pick up the clean dishes, help with the clothes. But we do a lot of the then swimming, snorkeling, hiking comes, you know, like part of, not like every day, but it's very often when we do it. So right now in summer, since we're not like really homeschooling, but they still have to do like an hour of math or some type of homeschooling, and then just hanging out, playing. Yeah.
Sounds good. We see Kings.
Yeah, same. You know, people think we're on vacation for 3 years, and really we're fixing our boat in exotic places is our motto. But my husband's out fixing the autopilot right now. But yeah, because they're older and they're on their senior year, we ask them to do like 3 hours of school. But that is flexible. If there's something going on, we're going to go do something or whatever. So they usually get up, have breakfast, do their chores, vacuuming, dishes, whatever. And we also have 2 dogs on board, so part of their chores is taking care of the dog. And they do their 3 hours of school. And then typically, like right now, they're out with our buddy boat teen girls, and they're just walking around St. Augustine having a good time. They might go to someone's house to do board games or movies in the evening, and then do more chores. It's a typical, you know, just like in a house, they would have chores, school, and then fun time. So
I think that's a great distinction that everyone's making, is that it isn't vacation time. And the kids, the kids slowly understand that. At least ours did. He's like, oh, okay, we're going to the Bahamas. Cool. Oh, no, this is still normal life. Like, you will be schooling. You will be doing chores. We'll
you
just be
can
doing it
hike
in the Bahamas.
you can hike a volcano in the morning and come back and do school in the afternoon.
Isn't that awesome? I mean, if my parents, I would have loved to have been a boat kid. I think somebody else said that. Catherine said, I would love to be your kids right now. It's so cool. Like, well, we're adopting. We have an empty cabin. Come on over. Yeah, for us, it was, again, being a teenager, and Cody was kind of into like cooking and, definitely helping his father in the engine room and that sort of thing. He's really into cars and mechanics and that sort of stuff. So it was always good to have him. Okay, great. Well, you like doing this stuff? Guess what? You're going to be doing it with your father now, or doing it yourself. So making the breakfast or going spearfishing with Steve, that sort of thing. Of course, we have Bella, so taking care of the dog, which that was supposed to be his dog anyways. So that's a whole nother story. But, taking care of the dog, doing the boat chores, helping us anchor. We actually, he is a huge part of our boat life that's missing. It's not a bad thing because now I just have to pull my weight more. But we miss him because he would help us anchor. He would help raise the sails. He would, drive the boat. So there's this huge like first mate that's missing for us. So that's tough for us, but normal daily routine as if we were in a house, but on a boat. So I agree. Okay, let me think. We're trying to keep this close to about an hour, so I may skip some questions. Everybody's got a busy day. So let me find some cool things. We talked about kind of screen time. Okay, this question could touch some nerves, but I think it'll be good. Does living in a small space bring families closer together or drive you farther apart? Tiffany?
I would say closer together, but we weren't new to living small spaces before this. We did 5 years of RV life in the past. We've done part-time sailing back in the day before we were full-time, and it was a much smaller boat than this. It was a 35-foot boat, and which we were only on it for about 3 months at a time. This is a 50-foot boat, so this feels like a lot of space to us compared. But no, I think it brings us closer together. I do think it might be hard for people if you, I always homeschooled, so I was with my kids 24/7, but on land life. But I think if you were in the traditional sense of both parents going to work, the kids at school all day, and you're only together a small percentage of the time, and then you went to this, it could probably be really hard. It wasn't hard for us. My husband owned his own business, and so he had a free, flexible schedule. And then I was at home all the time with the kids from birth, and a stay-at-home mom with them. So we were together 24/7. So it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I'm with my kids all the time now. I was already with them all the time, so it doesn't matter. So I think it depends on what your lifestyle's like before you get on the boat, on how bad it's going to be on your dynamic. And of course, how many kids you got and how much space you have. There's going to be a lot to go into that. Because, a 50-foot boat is a lot different than a 30-foot or 35-foot. You got a lot more space.
It's amazing how much bigger it is. Even for us, seeing a 42-footer was so much bigger than a 38. It was really interesting.
Each foot, Jimbo says a foot on a boat is way bigger than an actual foot. It feels way bigger.
Crossroads, what about you guys?
Some people's boats are the same size as ours, but I'll go in, I'll be like, no way, this is definitely bigger than ours. But yeah, we are definitely a lot closer. We eat together, watch TV together, play games together, go everywhere together. When we lived on land, we worked. My mom watched the kids a lot, which I do miss that. I will say I miss some of that sometimes, but nope, never any babysitters or anything. It's always 24/7. We're with the kids. Every once in a while, I'll go out by myself, paddleboarding, or he'll go do, something by himself, or we'll go out with somebody that we've met or gotten close to recently. But most of the time we're together 24/7, and it has brought us closer together and in all the good ways. And I don't know why you guys keep saying this is not a vacation because okay, in the winter, it's not for us, because we're working and we're living in a small space and we're not going anywhere or doing anything fun. But in the summers, it is such a vacation for us at the beach every day. And when we lived on land, we only got to go to the beach once every month, and it was for a couple of hours, and then we were hot, just, I don't know, it's a lot different. We go to the beach all the time. We're always out in the sun having such a good time in nature, and definitely a vacation for us, at least half the year.
Mansbear, what about you guys?
say definitely closer together. Especially with the kids.
Give a hug.
And the homeschooling, or like even if I get mad at Jeff or something, it's not like I'm gonna go to the store.
There's only so far you can wander. I'm going to the other corner of the boat, all right?
So I would say closer together. We do a lot of activities together, like not only eating but going out snorkeling, climbing, like hiking. I don't know.
I'd say back when we were on land life, I would have, even if I was working at home, which I was, I would have activities. I'd go out and I'd pick up the kids. They're going to school, or there's times I'm leaving. I'm doing things on my own. I don't do that anymore. I do that with Grace, and she sometimes says she doesn't want to go when I'm sad. So it's like we do everything together, and I like it. And I hope she likes it too.
I like it, yeah.
But definitely more together.
Sometimes we need our own space, sometimes everyone and people don't realize that, but you can find your own space even when you're living on a 32 to 50 foot boat. So yeah, we see kings closer together.
Yeah, closer together. I mean, we were homeschooling before. My husband worked from home. We were separated, but it was, kind of like Jeff was saying, people would go off on their own activities, and even though my kids are older and they still do go off, you are closer as a family on the boat, and the dinghy can be timeout. Go to the dinghy. You're in timeout. Leave me alone. But yeah, so you're closer together, but you do have your own space. The boys can go off to their own rooms if they want to be alone, or the two of them will go sit on the beanbags on the bow and do whatever, and we'll if we're anchored out. But as a family, I would say closer together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we looked out with the boat that we got. It's a catamaran, so it's got two hulls. So essentially, the husband, the dog, and I had one side, and then Cody had his own side. He had his own cabin, his own head, his own bathroom. So he kind of had that space to get away if he had to. And when we first got on the boat, we did not have Starlink. So when we were traveling the Keys and didn't have cell service, or the Bahamas too, there was no Wi-Fi. So for us as a family, getting closer together for sure, things like board games. We did a lot of puzzles. We have a metal detector. So that was one of the most fun things I remember doing, is going metal detecting, as a family, and all of us had jobs. Cody had the little pinpointer where he could find the item. I had the scooper, the sand scooper, and Captain Steve had the metal detector. So we were all, Bella is over there digging to help us get the treasure out. So it was a whole family activity. So that things like that really brought us closer together. And these are things we would never, ever, ever think of doing at home on land. And it was literally like Steve and I would go to work 9 to 5. Cody would go to school. We would not see each other. We'd come home, eat dinner, maybe watch a movie together, go to our separate ways. So being forced, but in a good way, to grow up together for those 4 years on the boat, I'm just so blessed. It was really good family time. So we could still get away if we had to, though. It's called a paddleboard. And the dinghy. I like that too. Time out in the dinghy. So speaking of families, did you guys have any cool family traditions that you created by living on the boat?
So ours that's kind of different is we go to church. So one of our things is we watch our church online, but we've also done beach church with different cruisers in the past. Here at the marina, they have a Christian fellowship group that meets together. So we've been doing that at this marina. So that's something that we kind of made a new tradition of, because it's not like what we would typically do back home, going to our same home church with the same people every Sunday. So that's one thing that's a tradition that's kind of, we've evolved to be a little different living on the boat. And then as far as like holidays and stuff, of course, we have like little Christmas tree and little decorations and little things to make it festive for certain holidays and stuff like that. But it is interesting because I feel like 4th of July this year we were in Panama. 4th of July last year we were in Guadalupe, and nobody is celebrating those things where you are. So it is kind of weird sometimes if your home country's having a holiday and then you're in some other country that's we don't care about that. That's not our thing. But then also they have their own, which is cool, except for when you try to go to the store and everything is closed and you're like, why is everything closed? Oh crap, it's a holiday here. And you didn't know. So it kind of goes both ways.
Crosswinds, what about you guys? Traditions?
Yeah, we've been marking their height on our mast since we
Oh,
got the boat. And I'm like, now you know if we ever get rid of this boat, I have to
give me
take
that mast.
Give me that mask.
Normally people would do it on like the door or and I did that when I was growing up. I remember every year we would mark it. My husband did it one year, and then we did it recently, and they've grown so much. And it was nice to see that and think, wow, that's how long they've been on this boat. Like, they've grown so much. And I think we'll continue to do that.
I love that. What a cool tradition. Nancy Bear, what about you guys?
I gotta get the sarcasm again.
So we have the what is called the safe harbor beverage tradition, and we just drink juice or soda or just kind of like, or no water, but I guess just juice or soda. So we'll do that after every sale that lasted more than an hour, at least an hour. Yeah. After 30 minutes. So if we sell for 30 minutes, then we have a hardware sale position. And then there was another one I wanted to say and I forgot. But that's the main one.
That is so fun. I think I saw you guys do that on a live one time or in a video or something where you guys were cheersing each other. I like that. That's super cool. We see Kings?
Well, we have our normal traditions that we've always had during holidays and stuff. But usually when we're underway and we're doing an overnight, the boys take the first watches and they'll watch for 3 or 4 hours, one of them, and then they'll switch to the other one. And their watches end around midnight. They go to bed. My husband and I do the overnight. But during their watches, we'll take a board, not a board game, but like a card game out into the cockpit that the person that's on watch can still participate in, and we'll have snacks and games while the boys are on watch. That's been a new tradition.
I love that. That's very cool. Ours, we had a couple, but I think ours, let me have my notes too. Oh yeah, our most fun one, I think, was when we first got on. We didn't have a television or anything like that, or like a decent laptop to watch movies on. So we had a cheap old like projector. So we would project the movies either on a screen or for sailing on you put it on the sail. Works pretty good as a movie screen. So we'd put the little projector up, and in our back cockpit we have a sliding glass door, and it goes behind a white panel. And so that was also a perfect spot that Cody would pick the movie, and we'd try to project it onto the back door of the cockpit while we're cruising. So that was kind of fun. And then the second one we had is the stargazing. So on the front of our catamaran, we have a trampoline out there, and it's pretty wide. I'd say it's probably like 14 feet wide by maybe 6 feet long. And so it's got enough space for all of us, including the dog, to lay on it and like look up and gaze up at the sky, while we're anchored. And so that was always like, okay, you could be on your phone, or we could be out here looking at the stars as a family. So those are two of my biggest memories from that. Super fun and just great quality time as a family. So we're going to wrap it up with this last question. So this is going to be, what as a family or just as your child, if you remember your kid having the most memorable experience so far, what would you say that they would say is their most memorable experience of boat life so far?
I have so many, but that I think they would say, and I've recently done an interview with my kids, and so they did tell me some of these answers. But what I will say, just in the most recent, because we have a lot, is when we were in Linton Bay in Panama, and that spider monkey sat in my husband's lap and Chandler's lap and like literally hugged them, and like a flipping human, and was like, hey, what's up? And my kids really loved that. Now my younger, he liked to see it. He did not want it sitting in his lap or hugging him. He wasn't like for that. He loves animals, but he didn't really want it all up on him. So but Chandler and Jimbo both got to, It was a girl monkey. She liked guys better, it seemed like, because it seems like with guys she really liked. But anyways, that was a really cool experience because it was a wild monkey, and she just like really loved Jumbo, sat in his lap, hugged him. And my kids, like Chandler, he got to have it sit in his lap and love on it. So we have a lot of cool animal encounters that I would say is pretty high up for our family because we are animal lovers.
Very cool. And Crosslands, we did have a question about how old are your kiddos again?
My son is 11 and my daughter's 5. And I would say I know what their most recent, because there are a lot, but yeah, the most recent experience they had, it was really memorable for me as well because we are snorkeling at Loggerhead Key near the Dry Tortugas, and we got to see a lot of fish life, obviously, and we were watching a fish, and we turn around and we see this huge barracuda, and Lily got to see it and Cade got to see it. It was the first time any of us had got to see one, and my son looked over at me and he goes, "Mom, this is the best day of my life." He's like, "That was the coolest thing that ever happened." And Lily said the same thing. She was going, "This is the best day ever." And it just made me so proud because, you know, we do a lot to get them these places. And a lot of the time you feel like your kids maybe don't appreciate everything that you do, or they'll be crying because their ice cream wasn't the right flavor at the beach, you know? So when they do say stuff like that, it helps you to know that you're doing the right thing and that they're happy, and helps you stay happy. But that was the most recent experience, and it still makes me smile to this day.
Yeah, you gotta feel like you're winning as a parent when they say that kind of stuff. It just melts your heart. I love that.
Yeah.
Manta Bear, you guys, most memorable?
I think for each kid it would be a little different. Jerem is all of the fish he's caught, big or small, probably the bigger or more memorable, but he learned to fish in the ocean. He has never been freshwater fishing in his life. And he's kind of sad on that, but also proud on that at the same time, which is funny. And he just loves fishing. He's learned to be an angler. In school, he would do reports and studies on when he got to pick the item. He would always do it on fishing, and that's just something that he will always remember from this experience. Whenever it happens to be over, is that this is where he learned to fish, and he got a passion for life. For Jacob,
I don't know, I would say sailing, but
he came out of his shell on the boat, and he learned to sail the little Hobie cats, or the what's it called, the
Genesis.
What Pico? Yeah, the Pico boats. And when we were there in Grenada, he would learn those, and he took classes, and we then went up to Sandy Island, Carriacou, and he sailed one of those from Carriacou all the way over to Sandy Island, around our sailboat, and all the way back to Carriacou by himself. And spectacular. Both kids did it, and so those are the memories I think that will stick. You know, Jerem more the fishing, Jacob more the sailing, and just that he's always been a I'm going to do it myself type person. I don't need anybody else, and he did it himself, and he didn't need anybody else. So it's neat seeing him come into what he likes, and that'll be his experience. And this year we're starting to show him more on the actual sailboat and how to do the different things. And
very cool.
I'm sure next year he'll be actually sailing this boat.
He'll be telling you your job. He'll be telling you, he'll be the captain. Yeah.
He'll be yelling at us, captain orders. Do
yes.
this.
Just get ready. Be careful what you wish for, let me tell you.
Fair game. Yep.
We see King's most memorable experience?
Collectively, for both of them, I would say the time they spent in Georgetown with a ton of other teenagers and just going off every day, no adults, just doing whatever on the island. Separately, JJ's the fisherman. He has had a blast catching all kinds of huge fish and catching us dinner. He has learned a lot about fishing. It's his number one hobby now. And Tegan, he likes sailing, driving the boat, doing the things on the boat. So
Man, can your guys' children teach me how to get fish, catch fish? Because I feel like they might know better than Captain Steve and I. We need lessons. Oh man. I think for Cody, so again, our first year of boat life was 2020. So he was still pretty young, about 14. And when we had gone to the Bahamas, we were nearing the end of his homeschool year, and his choice was to go back to public school once that opened up and everything in the fall. So we said, okay, that's fine, but we're still going to live on the boat in Florida. So, and take little day trips and weekend trips and whatnot here and there. So he had a huge plethora of extra school supplies. And I kind of asked him, like, well, what do you think we should do with all this? You know, you don't need, he had the little, what is it, like a, help me out here. You look through it and everything. What is it? I can't think of it. You know what I'm saying? Science, and you put the slide on.
Microscope.
Microscope. Oh my God. Geez, let me drink more coffee while I'm trying to think. So he had stuff like that, and he had, the extra notebooks and rulers and pens and all this stuff he didn't really use. So I asked him, well, what do you want to do with all this stuff? And he wanted to donate it to a school in the Bahamas. So that was one of his ideas, one of his led things. So we searched around. I think we were in Black Point, possibly, near Staniel Key. So he wanted to actually take the school supplies to a school. We got to go in, we got to meet the kids, and he was doing it, and we just could have stood back and watched him do that. So that like gave me goosebumps as a parent. That was really cool. That's one of my most memorable too. And then in the same place, a little bit north, I think it was Cabbage Key, they have an opportunity to swim with nurse sharks. I'm a very nervous person about that kind of stuff. He actually helped me guide me into the water. You could feed them too. So he helped guide me into the water, and we just had a blast snorkeling and swimming around with the nurse sharks together. And so things like letting him do it and lead me, that was also really cool. Look at the dog. I love it. So speaking on his behalf, I think those were two of his most memorable experiences because it taught me too. So that was for us. I think we're going to wrap it up unless anybody else wants to throw in something. One more parent pro tip for raising a boat kid. If anyone has anything else they want to add in, or if anyone had real quick questions. I didn't notice any questions today. Telescope, microscope. Yeah, thank you guys for helping me. You guys are so helpful with my words. Don't forget a Bella treat. Thank you. Bella's not actually here, but I will give it to her when I see her. We see Kings, you're muted.
Okay, so I don't have a tip, but your story reminded me of when we were in Grenada. We were doing beach church with a bunch of other people, and one of them organized an opportunity for all the teenagers to volunteer at the children's school, and these were all like foster kids. And so the first thing we did was we collected money and goods from all the other sailors in the area, and we ended up making hundreds of dollars to buy supplies, food, all kinds of things for these kids. And then we got a van and packed all the teenagers in it, and the teenagers were split into groups, and each group went off and bought stuff. They bought cleaning supplies, snacks, food, all kinds of, they had a list. And then we delivered it all to the school. And then for, I would say, 2 or 3 hours, the teens just stayed and played with all the kids. And that was a very memorable thing. So even out here, you can find opportunities for your kids to volunteer and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And Kaylee says it best. She said, such a fun live. Thank you all for taking time out of your day. And I do want to thank everybody for being here. And if you haven't followed our sailors, please do follow. A lot of us do go live. So that's an opportunity to ask more questions. If you really like this topic today, or you and your family are considering boat life with kids. And I think my pro tip for boat life with kids is to do it now. Do it early. Do it while they're young. Because I think we talked about this last live, is like, if they're too old, it gets a little tough. It was tough having our kid as a teenager, but a lot of families are nervous when the kids are young. And that is I think that's the best time to do it. So thank you so much, Paula Sue. And thanks to all of our viewers. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys, all sailors, for being here. Thanks for taking that hour and 15 minutes out of your day. We appreciate it. Go follow everybody, check out their videos, and watch when they go live and support them too. So thank you guys again so much. I'll let you disconnect on your own. That way you keep all your earnings today. Thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks all.